Soto's also recently met with the Mets, Blue Jays, Dodgers, and Red Sox. This could be the night the 76ers get guard Tyrese Maxey back in the lineup, questionable against the Grizzlies with a hamstring strain. Philly's first game since the team meeting during which Maxey called out his close friend and teammate Joel Embiid for being late to everything and how that impacts the locker room. ESPN NBA analyst Jay Williams.
Now we get a chance to really see how are they going to respond to this?
Yeah.
How do you come out of this moment? Like, I know who Tyrese Maxey is. I've stated that from the beginning. I'm still waiting to learn how Joel Embiid handles these type of moment to determine whether he could be a champion or not.
Jay Will on Greeny. NHL Capitals captain Alex Ovechkin on injured reserve with a lower left leg injury. He's out at least the next 3 games, but he is expected to miss significantly more time. Ovechkin currently 27 goals away from setting the all-time goal-scoring record.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, the Steelers got a huge win against the Ravens on Sunday, but would a loss to the Browns change my view of them as contenders? It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
I am. I promise. And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR. Presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Oh, what just happened there? Paul O'Neal?
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Tiger Hoops win again. David Fleshman talking legal stuff with the NIL world in about 1 hour. Russ Mitchell in hour number 3. Let us begin as nope. Oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Yep, I knew I messed something up. Yep.
It's hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's hump day, Mike.
Hump day.
Or Camel.
It's hump day.
Russ Mitchell in hour 3.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
David Fleshman next hour.
Hump day.
He's a lawyer.
It's hump day.
He talks about law stuff.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And in this case, the particular law stuff, which we are discussing,
Hump day.
deals with NIL.
It's hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Taylor Calandro later this hour.
Hump day.
He'll talk about booze.
It's hump day.
Taysom Hill, a Hall of Famer?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Maybe.
Hump day.
Make the case.
It's hump day.
Will Campbell's pissed off. Ooh,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
you love to see it.
Hump day.
Not why he's pissed off.
It's hump day.
That he's pissed off.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You'll hear from him here in just a sec.
Hump day.
All right, let's get going. Push off from the dock. Let us begin, Muse, if we could, as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
It's okay, Scone. You just do this every day. All the time. All the days. So it really stinks around here right now. Not literally, figuratively. LSU hasn't won a game in a month. It's by the time they tee it up and kick it off against Vanderbilt, you realize that will have been 5 weeks since they beat Arkansas. It's a long time in these parts to go without winning a game. As you might imagine, people aren't really happy. Vibes around town, not immaculate, very bad. Brian Kelly was on the SEC Coaches Teleconference. He was asked about the team morale among the 3-game skid, and let's be honest, there's literally nothing Brian Kelly could say today that would satiate or satisfy you, but here he was.
I think the team morale is disappointed. The coaches are disappointed. Every fan that follows LSU is disappointed, and they should be. We don't sign up for this for anything but positive outcomes. But they are committed. They are resolute in what they want to do, and they want to play better football, and excited to coach them because of the way that they have presented themselves to us. And that is keep coaching us, stick with the process, coach us hard, coach us fair, and help us get better each and every week.
Okay, lots of words. That's not going to make you feel any better. And again, I don't know that there's anything, literally anything Brian Kelly could have said that would have made you feel better today. Brian Kelly could have said, I'm coming to every one of your houses, giving you money out of my own wallet to reimburse you for your tickets, and that still would not satisfy you. I don't blame you. Everybody wants to win. But that extends to the players as well. And I'm always impressed by Will Campbell because he's the best player on your football team. He's going to be probably a top 10, top 15 pick in the draft. We'll see where it all goes. But he's going to be super duper rich here in a few months. He's a fantastic football player, but he doesn't say much. So when he does speak, people tend to listen. I remember this in fall camp. If you were here for all of our fall camp reports, you might remember me telling you this story. There was a drill that LSU did, offensive line against defensive line, and it was a pass rush drill. And there was a moment where Ori Williams, who's a true freshman, got absolutely destroyed. And Will Campbell didn't yell, didn't make a scene or anything. He just kind of casually walked up to Ori Williams, and all the media was there. Like, if he had yelled or something, we would have heard it. He just walked up to him, said something to him. I don't know what it was. Said something to him. Walked back, and the next rep, Ori Williams won the rep. That's kind of how Will Campbell carries himself. So, when Will Campbell gets wordy and emotional, you tend to perk up and listen a little bit. Y'all have heard a lot about this players-only meeting that been making the rounds. Brian Kelly talked about it, but that's not really impactful. What matters more is what a guy like Will Campbell said about the players-only meeting. This is 45 seconds. I'm not going to cut any of it out. I'm going to play the entirety of it because you need to hear all of it.
We're just talking things out, and everybody get on the same page. And we've been in a situation to win a lot of games, but at the end of the day, we have to finish, and that's the thing. You go back and look. We've led going into the fourth quarter out of 3 of the 4 losses that we have. We have to finish games, and that's something that we haven't done. And it's not a coaching problem. It's not a scheme. It's none of that. It's us. We have to be able to do the little things right. And when you don't deserve to win, quite frankly. Whenever you have, I think against Florida, we had 13 negative plays. You don't deserve to win an SEC football game on the road in a hostile environment against a good football team with a good coaching staff. It's just not what it is. This isn't high school football. So if we want to win, we have to do the little things right for 4 straight quarters.
He was also asked, by the way, you wonder if NIL changes people's motivation? The guy who you're hearing from right there is paid more than anyone else on this LSU football team. And had he wanted to, Will Campbell could have gone in the portal last offseason and easily gotten 7 figures anywhere to be a contender's starting left tackle. Came back to LSU. You think that dude's opting out with 2 games to go? Just a reminder, when you paint with a broad brush and you point a finger at kids these days, quote unquote, and athletes these days, and how this day and age, and it's ruining college football. You sure? Doesn't sound like it's ruining Will Campbell. And I'd submit to you there's way more in him than there are people who are on the other side of this conversation. But they even followed up about him kind of sounded like he's a little more on edge. Give a listen to what he said.
Nobody comes here. You work from January all the way to January to win. And, whenever we lost A&M, had a bye week. We're going on our 5th week, and it feels like we got a cloud over our head that we have to remove ourselves. It's nothing that anybody on Twitter can say that's going to make it any better or whatever everybody's narrative wants to be. It's on us. and it has been since the day we got here. And at the end of the day, that's what we got to do. I mean, I'm not happy. I mean, nobody in this building is happy. This is people's livelihood that you're playing with here. So at the end of the day, it's our job, the people in this building, to get everybody on the same page and get everybody rolling in the same direction and go get a win this weekend.
He also talked about not winning a championship here is a failure, but 8 wins is better than 6, and they got to find a way to win 2 more games. Doesn't sound like a guy primed to opt out. Sounds like your best player is trying to get everybody focused. You hear that. Again, that's words. Actions have to speak louder than words. You have to go out and do it on Saturday. We'll see if they can. But when a guy who doesn't speak much decides to speak up the way Will Campbell did, generally that's a good sign. Now, it said you got to go do it. It'll help if you get Garrett Dellinger back. Brian Kelly on Wednesday on the SEC Coaches Teleconference gave an update on the starting left guard.
He practiced a little bit yesterday. We're taking it day by day. Look, I think it's important when you're coming back from this tightrope surgery that, there's kind of stages. You don't throw him in for everything. Yesterday, he was part of our pass protections, and, he felt comfortable there. Today, we're going to get him involved in the run game. We're making progress. So, I would say that I'm optimistic, but, each day we've got to work on, building that confidence where he feels he can go out and be an asset for us.
It'd be huge if you get him back. There's no two ways around it. Garrett Dellinger's injury has set off a domino effect on your offensive line that has exposed a lot. Not only how good of a player on the interior Garrett Dellinger was, how much he complimented Will Campbell when you wanted to run to the left side, how much he elevated DJ Chester, who at times has struggled this year in his first year as a starter. You remove Garrett Dellinger, it makes you weaker running on the left side. It removes a little bit of that safety net you had there with DJ Chester. It has set off a domino effect that has caused you to be weak in everything you do offensively. So if you get Garrett Dellinger back, even at some health level capacity, that'd be great. And for Dellinger, this is it for him. There's no other year for him to play. He's got 2 more times in Tiger Stadium in a bowl game should he choose to play that bowl game, so 3 more times to put on the purple and gold, even if they are gold jerseys. 2 more in Tiger Stadium. See if they can get him ready to go for Saturday. All right, our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with a great taste of Bud Light. Speaking of Saturday, if you're going to be out at Tiger Stadium, of course, you got the Bud Light fan zone right there between the PMAC and Tiger Stadium. You have live music, plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. If you're going to be cheering on the Tigers this week, make sure you get those Bud Light cans and aluminum bottles, those LSU official licensed cans and aluminum bottles. We got one on the set here with us, and you can find them at great local retailers everywhere, and, of course, inside of Tiger Stadium. So drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR and the official beer of the LSU Tigers. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Pluckers. We'll get to Taylor Calandro in about 30 minutes from right now. You got booze questions, get them in. We'll do Bourbon Dictionary. We're not going to break. Come back. LSU Hoops wins again. It was by the hardest, but I do have some thoughts on it. You'll hear from Matt McMahon as well. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. At Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. At Glow Resources, they're not a temp staffing agency. At Glow Resources, they work with you, the business owner, to find the right people for your job. They specialize in finding skilled blue-collar labor, but they also have a professional placement division. You can talk to Casey over there, who heads up the professional placement division. She does an awesome job. And if you have any type of white-collar job or office job, all the way from accounting and HR to office managers, all the way up to C-level management, Glow Resources can help you find the right people, and they carry a 96% satisfaction rate. 96%. It's Glow Resources. Check them out online to learn more. Get in touch today at GLO. GlowResources.com. GlowResources.com. Glow Resources, complete employer solutions.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Cory Chest spins to his left, shot going to be blocked by Collins, saving it in bounds as Sears picking it up on the other end. Victorious Miller throws it up from the left side without seeing the rim, gets it to go and draws the foul.
LSU beats Charleston Southern 77-68. Tigers move to 4-0 on the young season. Now they head up to West Virginia to the Greenbrier. They'll take on Pitt. UCF and Wisconsin are the other teams in that tournament. So you play Pitt, then one of the other teams. So you play Pitt on Friday, and then the round robin will go from there. This is one of those games. If you watched it, you saw. If you didn't, and I'm going to assume that most people have your focus elsewhere right now in late November with college football and the NFL seasons in full swing. Although LSU and the Saints football seasons aren't exactly going great, maybe you're looking for a welcome distraction. And Matt McMahon's squad could very well be providing it as they're off to a 4-0 start. Maybe got a lot of people's attention with that win in Manhattan last week against Kansas State. This was not a pretty win, and it was against a bad opponent. So Charleston Southern is 1-5 on the season. LSU is about a 26.5 point favorite in this game, and you were trailing midway through the second half of this ball game. So this followed very similarly that blueprint to the Alabama State game a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I should say, where you got down around the 8-minute mark of the second half. You hit that kick, went on a big run, and you were able to coast to the finish line. That happened in this one as well. LSU, and it was Victorious Miller who came up with the play. Tigers had it was a big dunk by Victorious Miller, which sparked a 14-0 run for LSU. They take the lead. Charleston Southern would get it within 5, but never got closer than that the rest of the way, and LSU ends up winning. But again, Charleston Southern, they played at Clemson. They lost by 30 in that game. It was 91-64. They played at North Florida, lost 90-66. They beat something called Morris. They lost to UT Rio Grande by 10. They lost to VMI by 21. So this is a bad team. And they came into Baton Rouge and were more than competitive for much of this ballgame, 30, 35 minutes of this ballgame. The part of LSU's first half struggles were rooted in the fact that Carter and Reed got into foul trouble. And so you needed Victorious Miller to step up big time, and he did in that first half and really paced you offensively. And in the second half, the Tigers were able to get back to health and or get back to full strength, I should say, and ice the game away. The rebounding margin was a little concerning. You had been so good at that against Virginia or against Kansas State, where you dominated the glass. In this game, you were even at 42 apiece with a team that had no business being there with you. You did outshoot them 50% from the floor to 36% from the floor. And one of the things that maybe is most encouraging about this team early on anyway is you have buy-in at both ends of the floor. This team will defend. They will get up and down, and they will defend both ends of the floor. And I think that's something Matt McMahon very clearly wanted. Listen, this team's inability to defend the three-point line last year was a major issue, and they are, at least in the early returns, showing buy-in on both ends of the floor. Matt McMahon, after the game, talked a little bit about the win.
Charleston Southern, I thought they really came in here and were the aggressor in the first half. We knew going in, they were over 15 offensive rebounds a game. We knew we'd be tested there. Obviously, we didn't get the job done at the level we wanted to on the offensive rebounds. I thought our first shot defense was good. Hold them to 36% from the floor, 28 from three. And then offensively, some of their ball screen coverages bothered us a little more than expected. But at the end of the day, credit to our players. I thought they continued to fight, scrap. It's a good win. We'll take it. Happy to start the year 4-0, and now we have great opportunity this weekend.
Charleston Southern had 18 offensive rebounds. They outscored LSU 21-10 on second chance points, so that was part of the issue LSU had. Two of the notes that I had written down were about Cory Chest and Victorious Miller. Matt McMahon actually talked about both of them after the game. If you weren't here last week, Matt McMahon was with us on Friday, and I asked him about Victorious Miller, and the point I made is that's how it's supposed to look. Victorious Miller is a 6'5" guard that can create his own shot. He had a nice finish with his left hand. He can step back and shoot. He's got length. He's also Silk the Shaka's son, which is awesome. But that guy, I'm telling you, is an NBA player. I can look at LSU's entire roster, and you could say, yep, that one. We joke about the Naz Reid should have stayed thing here all the time, but sometimes God made people that are just different. My point with Naz Reid, all that for all the crap that some of y'all gave Naz Reid, the point I made routinely while he was here was the good Lord just didn't create many dudes that are 6'10", that look like the Predator with soft hands and soft feet. That's Naz Reid. There aren't many humans like that on earth. The ones that are get to play in the NBA. Naz Reid's great. Victorious Miller, similar. He ain't 6'10", he's 6'5", but he can create his own shot. He can step back and shoot it. He can finish at the rim. He's got length. He's got buy-in on defense. He can handle the ball. He's a pro. That guy is going to play in the NBA. And he was huge for LSU in the first half when you had foul issues, and he picked you up on the offensive end. Here was McMahon after the game about Miller.
Can't say enough about Victorious Miller. I thought he really carried us in the first half.
He did.
I thought you saw his skill set really thrive there in the first half with the way Charleston Southern was guarding. You saw them in that deep drop coverage with their bigs. And, I thought he was able to get to his spots and get in the lane and hit a couple tough floaters there. I thought, it just really was taking what the defense gave him there and stepped up and hit some big shots for us.
Now, the other guy is Cory Chest. And Chest was so impressive because he only played 3 minutes in the opener against ULM, then didn't play against Alabama State. And so you go to Kansas State and you don't have Derek Fountain, and he gives you 13 rebounds in 21 minutes. He's a problem. He's 6'8", 220 pounds, and he is physical around the basket. That's a guy that isn't going to be great for you offensively because he can't create, but he'll give you an offensive option, an opportunity off of some action, and because he's a big physical player. But what is so impressive is how he stuffs the stat sheet. And he's done this in each game. And maybe no better example so far than last night. He played 22 minutes, only 8 points, which is fine. You don't need him to score. But he had 6 boards, 2 blocks, 2 steals, and only committed 1 foul. Like, that is a guy that is impacting the game in many different ways in the minutes when he's on the floor. That's a winning formula with buying at both ends of the floor. And Matt McMahon knows a guy like Chest and also Collins, who's, we've talked about him as well, the length, the Kentucky transfer that gives you great rim protection, the ability to finish around the rim. Like, those two guys coming off the bench have given this team great depth.
I thought Damian's rim protection was critical for us. He had the 3 blocks. I thought he altered some other shots. All of them led to some transition baskets for us. Him and Cory both, 7 offensive rebounds between the two of them. I thought Jalen Reed improved on the glass as the game went along. He gets 8 rebounds. So those 3 guys certainly carried us on the glass today.
Tigers get a win. They go to 4-0. They'll have a tough draw against Pitt coming up on Friday. Pitt right now is 5-0. They beat Radford. They beat Murray State, who's, of course, Matt McMahon's former school. Beat Gardner-Webb. They beat West Virginia by 24, 86-62. And then they beat VMI 93-48. So they've been tested once against West Virginia and blew them out. Similar to LSU's very nice win, although that was at Kansas State. This will be the first time Pitt goes away from home. But a good opportunity. It's a measuring stick game for LSU on Friday up at the Greenbrier in West Virginia. We'll see how the Tigers do. All right, it's After Further Review brought to you by Optimize. I was downstairs in the second floor studio recording some promos earlier today, and boom, power went out. I have no idea why. It's a beautiful sunshiny day. I mean, it's gorgeous in Baton Rouge. It's 65 and sunny. Not a cloud in the sky. But the power went out. Don't know why. Immediately, our generator powered on. Everything kicked right back on. Same is true at my house because we have a Generac automatic home standby generator, and I would encourage you and everyone to do the exact same thing. Nobody wants to be inconvenienced when the power goes out, but that's a reality of living here. It's not if, but when the power will go out. Well, when the power goes out and you want to not have your life altered in any way, let Optimize help. They are the generator people. Go to generatorpeople.com. That's generatorpeople.com. At Optimize, it's easy. They have turnkey installation. They handle everything. They get the permitting. They talk to your electric company. They handle everything. They have the price quote guarantee. The price they quote you is the price you pay. There's no fees, no other things like that's the price they gave you. That is the number. And then, of course, they let you stay in control of your finances with great financing options. $600 down payment, and they have financing options for any budget, so you stay in charge and in control of your finances. It's Optimized. You need a generator? Why would you call anyone other than the generator people? That's Optimized. Generatorpeople.com, generatorpeople.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Taylor Calandro will be here in 17 minutes, a little Bourbon Dictionary. Want to get your booze questions in? Do it. Maybe a good opportunity with Thanksgiving, a week from Thursday. What wine to have around the Thanksgiving table? You want to make some cocktails, need some recipes or ideas? Fire away with your questions for Taylor. You can email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Usually on Wednesday, this is when the first injury report of the week comes out in the NFL. Well, the Saints obviously having a bye. There won't be an injury report. So the Saints news should be light this week, but we will talk some Saints as they move through the week. If you missed our conversation yesterday with Sean Salisbury, just in general, we did talk about the possibility of Darren Rizzy earning the full-time job. And something I hadn't really considered that Sean said, if you missed the conversation, highly recommend you go check it out. Something Sean pointed out is like, listen, a lot of times whenever you have an interim situation, it's usually at the end of the season for maybe 2 or 3 games. And it's hard to get a very full evaluation during a 2 or 3 game stretch. Well, in this instance, with Darren Rizzy, he's going to do the job for 9 weeks. I mean, he's going to coach 8 games, and you've got this week with the bye. So, like, you will have more than half a season to evaluate if Darren Rizzy can do this job. I'm not saying he can, will, should get the job, anything like that. But it is a very different conversation around Darren Rizzy than with most interim coaches, because most interim coaches aren't going to get 8 games to prove if they can do the job. So, look, man, with the schedule you got, I think you got 2 more wins in you. I mean, I think you can beat New York at the Giants, and I think you can beat the Raiders at home. I don't think you're not going to be favored against the Rams, the Commanders, the Packers, or the Bucs. You're not going to be favored in any of those 4. You find a way under Darren Rizzy to go, let's call it 6-2 in his 8 games, we might be having a very different conversation on that Black Monday around the NFL. All right, let me knock out a quick break, go around the SEC, and a massive loss for the biggest game of the college football weekend coming up. We'll tell you who next. It's AFR.
AFR.
I had a great lunch yesterday over at Curbside, my friends at Action Industries. Been so proud to tell you about Action Industries and the relationship we've had now for a year. They've been servicing the industrial refinery markets, petrochemical and refinery markets since 1982, 42 years. What you may not know about Action Industries, though, is they have a turnaround division, which they call the Advanced Turnaround Group. These aren't just taking people from Action and throwing them on turnarounds. They have assembled in this Advanced Turnaround Group a core group that have built their entire careers on turnaround execution. You're not just taking any worker and throwing them in the turnaround world. It's a different pool of resources. You're still dealing with the same management, the same people over at Action Industries with workers who are proficient in turnaround work. It's Action Industries, their Advanced Turnaround Group. You can learn more at Action Industries.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
What's one of our core betting angles? You don't have to sports bet, just if you listen to the show. What's one of our core betting angles? Muse, what are our core betting angles? We got a few that we always throw out there.
We do. We got the Field Storm fade. We got that. Field Storm /Court Storm fade. Yep. Unranked over the rank.
Yep.
And then, of course,
autoplay.
And then, of course, the starting center is a pretty big one, too.
The starting center. That's the old Mike D angle. Team that loses their starting center fails to cover some 80% of the time the week they lose their starting center. Biggest game in college football this week is, of course, Ohio State against Indiana in the Horseshoe. Buckeyes are a 2-touchdown favorite, right? Last I looked, maybe about 13.5, somewhere around there. Give me an updated number if you see it.
It is 13.5.
13.5. Well, this is disappointing news for Ohio State. Their starting center, Seth McLaughlin, who you might remember was a 3-year starter at Alabama, left Alabama for Ohio State this offseason. And as much as he had played for as long as he played at Alabama, those crazy lunatics in Tuscaloosa crushed this guy because if you remember in the college football playoff last year in the Rose Bowl, the semifinal game against Michigan, they had a goal-to-go situation at the end of the ball game, or I guess in overtime is what it was the final play of the game, and it was a bad snap back to Jalen Milroe. So that's the game ended on that play. And so a lot of goofy Alabama fans crushed him, never mind the fact that he had made 24 starts, played 35 games over 4 seasons, went to Ohio State, and actually has been probably the best center in college football this year on one of the best teams, if not the best team in college football this year. But Seth McLaughlin, he tore his Achilles at practice on Tuesday. That's devastating, man. For a fifth-year guy in his final season, trying to win a championship on a great team, and went down with that injury in practice here with 2 games to go. I mean, they have undefeated Indiana. They get the Michigan game, and then very likely the Big Ten Championship College Football Playoff. So for a season and career to end like that, it's very, just on a personal level, it's very disappointing. It is going to be fascinating to see how this might impact Ohio State. That's a Buckeye offense averaging over 5 yards a carry. Of course, you got Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins in that backfield. That helps. It's likely going to be Carson Hinsman that will replace McLaughlin. He was the starting center back in 2023, a year ago, as a redshirt freshman. Now in his 3rd year with the program, likely to get that opportunity back snapping the football for the Buckeyes as they play in the biggest game of the season. So we'll see how our old losing your starting center angle plays. Might be a little Muse, you maybe. It might be a little play on the.
I'm intrigued by it for sure. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Might be a little play on the Hoosiers. Something worth keeping an eye on. Of course, Phil Steele will be here on Friday. We'll see what Phil thinks about it. All right, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Remember, if you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Ben McDonald, first overall pick of the draft. You've heard Ben's advertisements for First South Farm Credit. Ben wanted to buy hunting property. By the way, his hunting property is in Mississippi. With First South Farm Credit, they've got branches in 3 different states, more than 40 branches in 3 different states, and they can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. So you want the hunting property in Mississippi, you want that camp in Texas, you want to build a ranch in Montana, First South Farm Credit can help you buy the land. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. All right, Taylor Calandro in 7 minutes. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Sam Pittman updated the status of 3 injured players for the Razorbacks. They take on Louisiana Tech this weekend. Braylon Russell, Selman Bridges, Anthony Switzer have all been injured. Bridges is back, full speed, according to Pittman. Bridges, who's a freshman defensive back, is expected to redshirt this season. And then Russell, the 3rd overall and 2nd among running backs at Arkansas in rushing yards, is full speed. So that's good news as well, as Arkansas is getting a little healthier.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
De'Aaron Jackson will miss the rest of the season, but will have the opportunity to return to Kentucky in 2025. He's an inside linebacker, 5th-year senior. It's season-ending surgery, but he is eligible to return for his 6th season should he choose to do so. Started each of the 8 games he played in with 38 tackles, including a sack and an interception this season.
The Auburn Tigers.
2025 offensive tackle Spencer Dowland has decommitted from Auburn. He's a 3-star from Athens, Alabama. The number 903 prospect in the country, the number 50 offensive tackle. He's the 34th best player in Alabama. Mississippi State is said to be the new favorite to land his commitment.
The Florida Gators.
And a little baseball news worth keeping an eye on as we inch closer to the start of baseball season. Highly touted Florida freshman righty Joshua Rittenauer. He'll undergo Tommy John. He'll miss the 2025 season for Kevin O'Sullivan and the Gators. Rittenauer suffered an arm injury during a fall outing on November the 13th. Revealed damage to the UCL. Gators anticipating being ready for 2026. He was the number 58 high school level draft prospect ahead of this most recent draft. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Pluckers, title sponsor of our Hump Day shows all throughout the year. Of course, you got trivia tonight. 7:30 Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock Nicholson. Get on by either Pluckers location. Eat wings, drink beer, watch sports on TV, play trivia, win gift cards, and all that good stuff. What more could you possibly want? Pluckers, you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. David Fleshman's going to be here in 19 minutes. He's an attorney with Brazil Saxe in Baton Rouge. And Fleshman, you might remember, started at the Dunham School in Baton Rouge, was part of John Brady's 2006 Final Four team. Now David does great work, but also does a lot of NIL law. And we've talked to David several times over the years since NIL has been in vogue. And we're about to embark on a new shift with NIL, with the revenue sharing that's set to go into place with the House settlement in July. And effectively, what that should do is eliminate collectives, because schools will have their revenue share percentage capped. So the aggressive fundraising through a collective, it's assumed, is going to end. There's just a lot of ambiguity right now about how that's going to transpire, what role collectives might have, if any. And then also, with these increasing deals, the value of these NIL deals, something you were seeing more, and Shea Dixon alluded to this yesterday when he was here with us, is you're seeing contracts between the collectives and the student athlete. How much validity, how much would those hold up? Like, can you actually hold a prospect to a contract? I want to just dive into a lot of that. It's a good time to do it. So we'll talk to Fleshman coming up here in about 17 minutes from right now. It's a conversation you don't want to miss. And if for some reason you do, make sure you catch it on demand. As always, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. You can get us on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Just search After Further Review, and you'll see our stuff right there. All right, let me knock out a quick break. Come back. Taylor Calandro will be here for a little Bourbon Dictionary. Got booze questions before Thanksgiving. Get them in. Email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Bourbon Dictionary next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys. We always love telling you about the great work Gordon does for injured people in our communities that he's been doing for more than 3 decades, helping tens of thousands of Louisiana residents, recovering more than $3 billion in damages for his clients. But Gordon also does an amazing job giving back. We've talked plenty about the NIL efforts that Gordon has put to give athletes opportunities. But around the holidays, I love telling you about Gordon's bike giveaway. 488 bicycles Gordon's going to give to children around the state of Louisiana this Christmas. If you want to enter to win one of those bikes, all you got to do is go to GordonGives.com. Go to GordonGives.com. That's GordonGives.com. When you go to GordonGives.com, you'll see it right there on the homepage. Just an amazing thing that Gordon does, giving away 488 bikes to children all over the state of Louisiana around the holidays. Merry Christmas from our friends at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Bertman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. They're the gang with the slang.
Keep it 100. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
I don't understand.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Get your booze questions in. Email us, tweet us, or text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Taylor's here. How are you, dude?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
Doing awesome, man. Thanksgiving a week from Thursday. Anything new for the holiday table?
Yeah, we got a few new things. It's hard to believe that Thanksgiving's a week away.
I know.
We got JT Mellick 6 year. It's 110 proof. That's a great little whiskey. If you're into weeded bourbon, JT Mellick is awesome. And that's $90. We also got Makers, the Lost Recipe, Mocha First Edition. So Makers does the wood finishing for their single barrels. One of the staves, wood finishing with the staves, one of the staves that they used to use is a Mocha stave. They took it out of the rotation like 4 or 5 years ago, and then they brought back this recipe with the Mocha stave and a few of the other staves. I can't remember what the exact stave layout is, but it is absolutely fantastic. I tried it over the weekend. It is absolutely fantastic. It's $90. I said the Knob Creek last week was one of my favorites of the year. This one is up there with the best that I've had this year too.
I know y'all have a sommelier and wine experts there at the stores, but if people are looking for wine for the Thanksgiving table, any recommendations, things that are maybe, I don't know a ton about wine, but things that are hard to get or things that are in now or things that people often seek or good deals or anything like that?
For Thanksgiving, the thing that people usually seek traditionally is Beaujolais Nouveau.
Yeah.
Which is
that's the wacky looking bottle. Looks like a circus on the bottle.
Well, yeah, and it's the first harvest of the year, and it's unaged and kind of grape juicy. Definitely not for me. I absolutely cannot stand that stuff. It tastes like grape juice, but people love it with Thanksgiving.
Okay. All right. Y'all have it?
We haven't gotten any yet. I think the stuff we're getting is coming at the end of the week.
Okay.
So.
All right. Let's get to questions. No, I'm sorry. Do you have something else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Email us, tweet us, text us. Text line 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. I hear some from Jay who said, ask Taylor if he's ever tried New Riff Winter Whiskey. He said, I have the opportunity to buy a bottle, but a little cautious about pulling the trigger on it.
I haven't tried the winter whiskey. I've tried the straight, just the regular bourbon, and I've had a few of their barrel picks. I generally like it. It just depends on what the price is of it.
Okay. Let's see. Clayton Knight said, I heard Taylor has some controversial champagne. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Okay. Eric asked Taylor, do you have any good champagne?
Maybe they're referring to the Trump champagne we have, but I don't know.
What is Trump champagne?
Trump champagne.
Oh,
champagne.
He has a champagne brand?
He owns a winery.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know. We sell that, but.
Okay. I don't know if it's controversial. Is it good? Have you had it?
I haven't had it, but,
okay.
I have no idea. Trump owns a winery, though. He owns a winery in Virginia.
Business guy, owns a lot of different companies. Yeah.
Yes.
Not surprised there. Eric asked Taylor, do you think a bottle of chicken cock will help ease the tension of potential discussions this Thanksgiving?
We're just doing politics.
How about that, man? Back to me. I'm just reading them, man. I'm not going out of order. I'm just reading them one after another.
Yeah. Take some chicken cock to talk about whatever you need to over holiday dinner if you just cannot restrain yourself.
Yeah. If you disagree with someone, say, hey, throw this chicken cock down your throat. Make you feel better.
Yeah.
Say just like that,
something
too.
Something along those lines. Yeah, that'll definitely go over well with the fam for sure.
Nick.
Just video it if you do it.
Nick said, best whiskey for Thanksgiving that won't break the bank.
That Knob Creek bourbon and rye that I talked about last week is $45. It's ridiculously good, and we still have some. So it should be quite a bit of stores around town, too. Try to find that bottle.
What is it again? Knob Creek what?
Bourbon and rye. Bourbon times rye.
Okay.
Yep. Fantastic.
Scott said, ask Taylor if he gets into the clear ice whiskey ball hype. What is that?
The clear ice whiskey ball hype. He's probably asking if I like to drink whiskey with the. I don't know what the clear ice ball hype is. I don't
like an ice ball, like whiskey on an ice ball or an ice ball.
Yeah, but he could be talking about some new trend. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of whiskey balls, but that's just me.
I think it really depends. So just you could add something here if you want to, but if you're gonna drink whiskey on ice, the idea behind having a block or a sphere is it's going to melt slower, so it's not going to dilute. It's not going to dilute as quickly as it would with ice cubes that would melt very quickly and water down your beverage. I mean, I think that's the concept behind using an ice ball, a sphere, or a block, right?
Yeah, sure. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way to drink whiskey either. And there's two schools of thought, I think, with that. It depends on how fast you drink it as well.
That's true.
Because those ice balls, they can take a while to melt. I prefer ice, just regular ice. It does change the drink throughout. If you have ice, I've read Freddie No drinks whiskey with ice for that reason, and I know a lot of people do. But I'm more of just a straight up guy. I mean, that's how I thought the whiskey was made and how it's supposed to be drank. So, but I don't care. You can do it however you want.
Chris Burke said, Taylor, is there any way I could suck up to you to get some of your connections for a Bourbon Trail trip?
You could just get in contact with me.
Hey, there you go. Willing to help. Taylor's usually there.
I'd be more than willing to help you.
Look at that. What a guy. You're going to have a whole line of people lined up over there at Perkins.
I've helped people get stuff on the Bourbon Trail before.
What a guy.
I can't say I'll do it for everybody, but I'd be willing to talk to people, sure.
Kind of sounds like you are. All right, we got to go. Taylor Calandro over at Calandro's. Thank you, dude.
See you, Matt.
Be well. Brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well over at Relief Windows. Maybe you want to get your new windows done before the Christmas holidays. Call today over to Relief Windows. Remember, they measure twice, install once, every window custom made to fit the exact specification of your home. Lower your energy bills, increase your home's resale value, beautify the exterior of your home. Nobody better than Relief Windows. Go to reliefwindows.com. That's reliefwindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. All right, SportsCenter coming up. We'll get to David Fleshman. Talk a little NIL law with the whole cost of attendance thing next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We got our reservation. Friday night, a little double date. Me and E-Rock and some friends will be over at Supper Club. Hope to see many of you there. If you don't have a reservation, no worries. Remember, you can always try your luck walking up to the bar. Open seating at the bar so you can have a meal at the bar, maybe get lucky, get a table in the bar area. You want to have a cocktail, have your dinner at the bar, you could do that over at Supper Club. Hey, they're back open, of course. Remember, they're open Tuesday to Saturday. So a couple things to remind you about. If you want to go check out Supper Club tonight when you get off of work, pop on in. Remember, you can always try your luck, or you go get a reservation, or you try your luck walking in open seating at the bar. You got one more football weekend after this one. You want to try Supper Club on a football weekend, awesome opportunity to do it. Get your reservations at supperclubbtr.com. And Christmas and holiday parties. You want to reserve the private room or the entire restaurant? They can help you at Supper Club.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Campbell. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner confirmed today club officials recently met with free agent star Juan Soto. He described it as a good meeting without divulging many other details. Soto also met over the past week with the Mets, Blue Jays, Red Sox, and Dodgers. NBA 76ers guard Tyrese Maxey, hamstring strain, questionable against the Grizzlies tonight. Philly's first game since Monday night's team meeting where Maxey called out close friend and teammate Joel Embiid for being late to everything and how that impacts the locker room. It's a defining moment for Embiid and the Sixers, explains ESPN senior writer Andre Snellings.
You want to see, can you come through friction? Can you come through situations where, hey, this is something that needs to be corrected. Now, big fella, can you respond in the right way? I think there was a better chance of that before it became national, and I'm hoping that Embiid rises to the occasion because he wants to be a champion. And if he wants to be a champion, this is the type of hurdle that he has to get over.
Andre Snellings on Greeny. Capitals captain Alex Ovechkin week to week with a lower left leg injury. He's 27 goals away from setting the NHL's all-time goal-scoring record.
Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Russ Mitchell next hour, about 15 minutes with the Saints on a bye. Interesting, the NFL today released their semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class on the same day where Taysom Hill was announced the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Does Taysom Hill have a legitimate Hall of Fame case? Hear me out. I'll get to that in about 15 minutes from right now. Exactly 2 weeks from today is the early signing period. And we all know that NIL has fundamentally changed every part of recruiting. However, there's another big change likely to come with the House settlement and with revenue sharing set to go into play later in 2025. It was a good time, I thought, to bring David Fleshman on, who is an attorney over at Brazil Saxe in Baton Rouge, but has done a ton of NIL law, and we've had David on over the years since NIL has gone live over the last 3 years or so. He's been very generous with his time. Good enough to join us here again today. David, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm well, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Let me start with a piece, and we'll just sort of go chronologically. But the piece I'm curious, with signing day 2 weeks away and the reports of some of these NIL contracts getting bigger and bigger, NIL offers getting bigger and bigger, how much of those offers are made formally in the form of a contract?
I would hope the majority of them are for the numbers that you're seeing. I would like to think a $10 million deal is not being done on just the back of a napkin. But I think the vast majority are probably not, contracts that you would expect to see for those size deals. And it depends really on who's doing the deal. I think as schools start to move into establishing contracts with their own student athletes, I think you're going to see a lot more of a formalized process than what you've seen in the past.
Are both sides beholden to that contract, meaning player signs a contract, they want to transfer? What happens? Like, what happens if they don't fulfill their end of the contract? Like, would a school sue the student athlete?
It's a great question. I think they may have the right to, but there's a whole lot more that comes along with making that decision. Do you want to be viewed as the school that's suing your former student athletes? Probably not a great look with your recruits and the families of the next players that are coming in. Is that if you don't comply exactly with this, we're going to sue you. But I would say they have the right if they are entering into a contract no different than two private parties entering into a contract in a different context.
What about the other side of it, David? Like the Jaden Rashada story, for example, where he said he was offered something by Florida. They didn't, his accusation, which he's alleging, they didn't hold up to it. And so now he is suing them. How commonplace might something like that be?
I think that's going to become a lot more commonplace. I think that represents really the kind of the worst scenario of these promises that aren't being fulfilled, but also the problem when you don't enter into a contract, when you put pen to paper to make sure that the parties understand each other. A lot of things can get lost in communication, especially when you're dealing with multiple parties, the head coach in that scenario. You're dealing with a booster. You're dealing with a staffer, and then you have an agent in the mix. So when you're not looking at a clean document that lays out the parties' expectations and obligations, I think that certainly increases the chances of a lawsuit. I think you're going to see a lot more lawsuits go that direction from a student athlete suing a school or a collective for failing to comply or to fulfill their obligations. Then you're going to see schools turning around and suing student athletes.
Attorney David Fleshman's with us. If you were to explain to a lay person what's going to happen with revenue sharing I believe it's July 1st is the date, if I'm not mistaken. How would you explain it?
So what we've seen with NIL since July 1st, 2021, as the ban against student athletes profiting from their name, image, and their likeness has allowed student athletes to enter into deals with third parties. So this is all outside money. These are brands that are now paying student athletes to endorse their products. What we've not seen, it has not been the school's funds that have been used to pay student athletes for the school's use of their name, image, and likeness. So what we are now seeing, this change, is that there is a cap that has been preliminarily approved in connection with the House settlement that is set to go into effect next fall, in July 1st of next year, that will allow schools for the first time to now pay student athletes for their name, image, and likeness and compensate them. And that is what is so significant about this, is that now it is really a school that has the ability to share in 22% of their revenue, is probably going to do so and try to make it work. But that is what I would say to a layperson, is that what we've seen is NIL that deals with outside third parties entering into contracts with student athletes. Now you're starting to see, contracts and term sheets that are now being presented from the schools themselves to the student athletes. And it really is operating similar to a salary cap. This sport would get X amount of the 20 million or so. Football may get 13 million that they now have to operate to put a roster together. So that is where we are headed rapidly. And one of the most complicating factors is that there's not this settlement will not be approved until after a hearing in April. I think it's April 7th of next year. So there's a lot of uncertainty that's still out there, even though it's been preliminarily approved. It has not been finally approved and won't be until pretty close to next April before July. So a lot of uncertainty there.
One of the very first conversations that you and I ever had about the NIL subject, you told me, I'm paraphrasing, so tell me if I get this wrong, that if they ever try to cap, like the NCAA ever try to cap NIL earning potential, lawsuits would already drafted would be filed. If revenue sharing effectively acts as a salary cap, are you anticipating legal action from the student athletes collectively in some way to remove that cap?
Absolutely, and you summarized our first conversation on that.
See, I listen
perfectly.
I listen.
You do. Yes. So of all the terms that they could possibly use in this settlement agreement between the class plaintiffs and the NCAA and the conferences and the Power 5 conferences, cap would not have been my first phrase to use for the revenue share. The problem with it, as we've talked about before, is it's not setting the cap. It's setting a cap when you don't have the student athletes at the table, when you don't have collective bargaining, when you don't have the student athletes at the table to be able to weigh in and to negotiate what that cap may be. We see caps, salary caps, and we see restrictions in the professional level, but that's because we have players associations and unions that are collectively bargaining what those terms are. We do not have that here. And so, every time that there's a restriction that's placed, on a student athlete's ability to profit from a name, image, and likeness or do anything without having a say in that, it's a restraint of trade. So yes, I mean, this is it's not a great word to use, a cap, in this context. And the other thing about it is, what is to say, think about a Joe Burrow or anybody else, but why are we only limited to 22%? How did you come up with that number? And no one really knows. There's some couple theories of how they got to 22% as the, allowed cap for schools right now. Nothing requires a school to pay that full amount, but to set an arbitrary number that schools cannot share above that without having some sort of collective bargaining or either, an exemption from antitrust law is a classic antitrust problem.
Yeah, it feels like this is just listening to that, even though there are a lot of big words, it sounds like we are far from done with this thing. So then let me ask, what is the role? Let's say the House settlement is approved in April, revenue sharing goes live July 1. What's the role of collectives?
It's a great question. There's a couple different theories. One is that, and I think the NCAA was hoping that they would kind of do away with collectives and move everything kind of more in-house. I don't think you're going to see that. I think collectives are still going to be around, but I think they're going to be used as a way to continue to raise money above and beyond the cap. If a school can only share so much revenue, but the school wants to continue to compensate, certain players or, new players more money, then that would be a way to do it. The other thing about this is not all sports at an institution are going to share equally in this. Which obviously has Title IX concerns, but football is going to have the vast majority of the share. I mean, their pie is going to look a lot larger than the other sports, and men's basketball is going to be larger than the rest. But I think collectively, it looks like it's projected to be about 90% between men's basketball and football that's going to be shared. So, you talk about it's far from over. You're going to see either football players say, why are we sharing any of this with other sports? Or you might see other student athletes bring an action to say, how are you not sharing, equally with us under Title IX? So this is far from being over, and the difficulty for every college administrator right now is to try to figure this out now, because they are having to enter into these agreements with the early signing period now. They can't wait until they get final approval from the court to then start trying to decide how much are we going to share football, how much do you have, Coach Kelly, how much are you going to pay each of these players in exchange for their NIL? It can't be the same amount. You can't pay everyone $30,000. Because that's not what it's based on for NIL. So a lot of unanswered questions, but it's a fascinating time to be around sports. I can tell you that.
David Fleshman, attorney David Fleshman, there with Brazil Saxy. We does great work with NIL law, as you can tell. We are entering and continuing through a brave new world. We appreciate it as always, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, be well. It is After Further Review. Our Tuesday shows, not Tuesday. It's Wednesday. We're brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. That's me and Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales and Trent Davis and our great staff. Hey, we had some awful rain earlier this week. I tell you all the time, there's only two ways to know if you got roof damage. One, let us come do a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Number two, wait for it to rain, and then you realize you got water in your house. Well, either way, we can help. We can help you with that free, no-obligation roofing inspection, and if you do realize you've got roof damage, we can come as well. We'll walk it, mark it, chalk it, help with any repair. If it is time for a new roof, we'll help you file that insurance claim. We'll work with your adjuster to get that claim approved, so all you pay is your deductible. A lot of people I know are even having trouble paying their deductible. Maybe you have a $10,000, $12,000 deductible. If that's the case, we can help with a financing option as well. Don't let the ability or inability to pay keep you from a necessity of a new roof on your home. We can help. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing. Go to parrishbuilt.com. That's parrishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing. Okay, we're not going to quick break. Russ Mitchell will be here in 1 hour. Preview the weekend ahead in the Southeastern Conference. Some Pluckers trivia in about 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, though, two former New Orleans Saints are semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And could Taysom Hill someday hear his name called? I'll make the case for Taysom Hill when we come back. It's AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Y'all, when you drive around, look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. You see them all over town. You see them in your neighborhood because so many of your friends and neighbors trust River City's 1 hour air the same way that I do. If you got an issue with your AC or your heater, you want the best, you want River City's 1 hour air. Paul and Mayu sent this 5-star Google review. I received excellent service from Michael. He's the best technician to offer knowledgeable and curious feedback in a very professional manner. We'll definitely ask for Michael in the future. Another 5-star Google review for River City's 1 hour air. Listen, we're getting into the cold weather months now. Before you crank on that heater, make sure it's running efficiently and safely. Pre-season heater safety check. Mention the Moscona special. They'll save you $30. River City's 1 hour air, 752-0001.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The best.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Hey, congrats to a couple of former New Orleans Saints, Eric Allen and Jari Evans, both today named semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A couple of guys that you certainly hope will hear their name called one day, whenever that day comes. And it's just one of those things where, unfortunately, everybody kind of has to just wait their turn, especially when you get into this log jam. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced the 25 modern era player semifinalists for this upcoming class. A minimum of 4, a maximum of 8 will be selected. And there's some big names on there. Eli Manning is a first-time semifinalist. You'll see Jari Evans back there, James Harrison as well, Jared Allen, who's still been waiting his turn, Steve Smith Sr., Terrell Suggs, Fred Taylor, Earl Thomas, a first-time eligible player, first-year eligible player as a semifinalist. So 25 semifinalists there. And as we mentioned, Eric Allen, who was drafted by the Eagles and finished his career in New Orleans. And then, obviously, Jari Evans, who played his entire NFL career with the New Orleans Saints. And just this past Sunday, went into the Saints Ring of Honor, and who is a guy who we've had the conversation about Jari over the years. I think he's a borderline Hall of Famer. He's a no-doubter for the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame and obviously the Ring of Honor, but one of those guys that you look like not as accomplished as Kevin Mawai and Alan Faneca when you look at the Pro Bowls, the All-Pros, and those are guys that had to wait their turn. So I hope the day comes for Jari, and I think he's deserving. It's just very hard with offensive linemen because you do have a log jam because there's 5 of them on the line at a time, right? So you're going to have a lot of them come in. It's not like a quarterback where there's one quarterback on the team. So you have 5 offensive linemen, receivers, like Torrey Holt is still waiting. Andre Reed had to wait a long time. So, that'll be interesting to see what happens there with Jari if his time does come and how long he may have to wait. But there's also going to be an interesting conversation, I think, one day about Taysom Hill. And I just thought of this today because there was this sort of, the Saints were on a bye, and there was this merging of stories where Taysom, after his record-setting day, where he had 3 touchdowns against Cleveland, and he went for 138 rushing yards, 50 receiving yards, threw an 18-yard pass, had 3 touchdowns on the afternoon, had a kick return for 42 yards. Taysom was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Cleveland Browns. And the fact that this happened on the same day that the semifinalists for the Hall of Fame were announced, it got me thinking about Taysom Hill's Hall of Fame case. And you may roll your eyes and laugh and smirk, and quite honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you did, because if you just look at Taysom Hill as a running back, he's not a Hall of Famer. If you look at Taysom Hill as a receiver, he's not a Hall of Famer. If you look at Taysom Hill as a tight end, he is not a Hall of Famer. If you look at Taysom Hill as a quarterback, he is not a Hall of Famer. But Taysom Hill is so much more than all of that because he is all of those things. And he's a special teamer, and he's blocked punts, and he's covered punts and kicks, and he has done all those things that I just mentioned still at a very high level. And I would have never had this conversation ever until last year when the Pro Football Hall of Fame voters elected Devin Hester. Because Devin Hester is not a Pro Football Hall of Fame receiver. And that's what he is. He's a receiver. Devin Hester was an NFL receiver. And in his career, Devin Hester had 255 receptions for 3,311 yards and 16 touchdowns. He was just an okay NFL receiver. Gave you the ability of the deep threat, but just wasn't a game breaker. And in his career, his 12-year career, where he played 156 games, Devin Hester only ran the ball 36 times. 116 career rushing yards for Devin Hester. Never threw a pass in 12 years. So he was an average receiver. But he was the best punt returner the game has ever seen. He set an NFL record with 14 punt returns for touchdowns. He also returned 5 kickoffs for touchdowns over his 12-year career. So about once every other year, he returned a kickoff for a touchdown. But at least once a year, he returned a punt for a touchdown. So, on average. So Devin Hester got to the Pro Football Hall of Fame by being the best in NFL history at doing one specific thing. And so I look at Taysom Hill and I go, all those things I just said are true. He's not a Hall of Fame receiver, not a Hall of Fame tight end, not a Hall of Fame running back, not a Hall of Fame quarterback, none of that. But the NFL in the last 60 years hasn't seen a player like Taysom Hill, who has been so proficient at all of those things. Taysom Hill, for his career, has 94 receptions for over 900 yards and 11 touchdowns. Taysom Hill has 432 rushing attempts for over 2,400 yards and 33 rushing touchdowns. Taysom Hill also has thrown for over 2,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. By the way, he's also made 17 tackles. He's returned a punt and returned 20 kickoffs. The only player that he compares to, really, in NFL history is Frank Gifford, the late Frank Gifford, who played in the 1950s. Frank Gifford, who I know from the Monday Night Football booth. It was Frank and Al and Dan. I mean, Lynn Swann on the sideline. I grew up watching those guys on Monday Night Football. But Frank Gifford played from 1952 to 1964. All of his seasons with the New York Football Giants. And Frank Gifford ran for 840 career yards. Taysom Hill has run for 2,400 career yards. Taysom Hill, in 2 fewer seasons than Frank Gifford, has already run for 3 times as he's tripled Frank Gifford's rushing total. Frank Gifford had 34 rushing touchdowns in his career. Taysom's at 33. He's going to pass him. Now, when you look at receptions, Frank Gifford had 5,400 receiving yards. Taysom's at 900. So Frank Gifford was dramatically used more in the pass catching game than Taysom. But in his career, Frank Gifford had 823 passing yards and 14 passing touchdowns. Taysom over 2,300 passing yards and 11 passing touchdowns. Basically, when it's all said and done, and you put Frank Gifford's career next to Taysom Hill's, receiving, running, passing, special teams, all that, Taysom triples Frank Gifford in rushing. Frank Gifford will do about the same to Taysom in receiving, and Taysom triples Frank Gifford in passing. Taysom Hill has been a more productive player cumulatively in those 3 things than Frank Gifford was, and Frank Gifford's a Hall of Famer. So I look and I go, there's precedent for this. There's precedent for this. Now, it was in the 1950s. I mean, you're talking when Frank Gifford ended his career 60 years ago. He was an outlier, Frank Gifford was, and that got him in the Hall of Fame. But 60 years later, we haven't seen a player like that. So there is going to be a case to be made for Taysom Hill. Now, I don't believe Taysom Hill should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't believe. But I'm not a voter. The voters elected Frank Gifford. And the voters also elected a far less accomplished player in Devin Hester, who I don't think should have been in the Hall of Fame. But It's a Hall of Fame. And Devin Hester's very famous. And so is Taysom Hill. I mean, he has done things, quite literally, we have not seen done in the NFL in 60 years. So Taysom's not done, and he's going to keep building that resume. And the more he does, and the more he closes the gap in some of these statistics and distances himself and others, the more of a mountain of evidence he's building that someday when we're having these conversations about Pro Football Hall of Fame, modern era candidates and semifinalists and finalists, like, there's a strong case that will be made for Taysom Hill because the voters, not me, because I don't think he should be, the voters have set this precedent that a guy like Taysom should be considered and, quite honestly, should be elected one day to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Listen, he's got uniforms that are on display there for some of his incredible days that he's had. Maybe one day his bust will be as well. And precedent suggests it should be. All right, let me know your thoughts. You can email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. Told you about Parrish Construction and Roofing, but also remember Parrish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor. That's the patented non-toxic dry fog treatment you've heard me talk about for years here. They were a different name, but we merged. My partners over at Parrish merged with Jim Woodworth to bring everything under the Parrish umbrella. So now it's Parrish Restoration. So in effect, you have mold in your house, think you might. You have odor problems due to sweat or pets or smoke, maybe cigarette smoke or smoke from a fire. Maybe you need to sanitize a big public building. They can do it at Parrish Restoration. Schools, hospitals, churches, single-family residences, they do it all. They'll even fog your vehicle. Because they have these Sprinter vans that show up to the job, they can, if you have a vehicle, like let's say you bought a vehicle and maybe a smoker had the vehicle and there's a smoke odor, you can't get rid of it. Call Parrish Restoration. They'll come in while you're at work, fog your vehicle. By the time the workday is done, you're in a clean-smelling vehicle. ParrishBuilt.com, ParrishBuilt.com. Just hit the restoration tab. Do business with someone you know. That's Parrish Construction and Roofing, Parrish Restoration, ParrishBuilt.com. Okay, it's after further review. Has Netflix solved its streaming issues from the Tyson-Paul fight because it's Christmas Day? Got some live NFL games on Netflix. We've got an update from Netflix. We'll share that with you. Also, we got some Pluckers trivia as well, so we'll find out everything Muse doesn't know when we come back. We're glad you're with us. It's AFR.
After further review.
Man, if you are even thinking about a pool, you got to call my friends over at Duplessis Builders. Call Derek Duplessis and start that process today. You might be thinking, Madam, wait a minute, get past the holidays. We get past Thanksgiving, past Christmas, we'll get to the new year, and then we'll start thinking about a pool. Here's the problem. If you do that and you call, let's say, the middle of January, it could take 6-8 weeks to go through the whole design process of your pool, design, permitting, all of it. Okay, well, now you're into February, March. And then the build-out could take another 2 months. Derek's very upfront with the time it's going to take, but that's how he delivers an exemplary product, an exceptional product that will last. Well, now you're talking about April, May, and then if you want landscaping done, now you're June. Like, if you want it done, landscaping, everything, so the first swimming day, boom, you're ready to roll, call Duplessis Builders today. DuplessisBuilders.net.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Campbell. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
If you're watching the Tyson-Paul fight, I don't know why they call it Paul Tyson. I guess it's alphabetical, but like if you're doing the hashtag on Twitter, it was Paul Tyson, not Tyson-Paul, but very clearly Mike Tyson was the headliner. Anyway, Netflix completely screwed the pooch on it, man. The stream buffered. The undercard was the highlight, and very few people got to see it because the stream quality was so poor. Well, it had a lot of people wondering because Netflix is streaming a Christmas Day doubleheader live. And so a lot of people are looking, going, man, all the issues you had with 108 million people live streaming Tyson versus Paul, are they going to have the same issue on Christmas Day trying to stream the NFL? Well, Netflix believes they've diagnosed the problem and will fix it. This according to NFL executive Brian Rolap, who said that to the Sports Business Journal at their Media Innovators Conference in New York. So we'll see if they have. They have 35 days to fix it. Hard to believe Christmas is 5 weeks from today. And, of course, the NFL will be playing on a Wednesday on Christmas, so you will be having NFL like every day of the week. I mean, you want to talk about short weeks, go playing on Wednesdays. Anyway, whatever. But Netflix says they fixed it. Makes me wonder, like legitimately, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it makes you wonder if they did sort of just send the test balloon out with the Tyson-Paul fight with some of the issues to turn on their fix to see if it would work. I don't know enough about that. It does sound ridiculous, admittedly, to say that they would voluntarily just try to screw up the Tyson-Paul fight. But I mentioned it yesterday when I was watching it and getting very frustrated on Friday night. My wife said, they're doing this on purpose just so everyone will talk about it. And while I rebuffed her and hand-waved her immediately, the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I mean, everybody was talking about, like everybody on Twitter, while people wouldn't necessarily have been talking about the undercards, everybody was talking about Netflix screwing up. I don't think anybody canceled their Netflix as a result of that. 108 million people streamed the fight, and you better believe everyone is going to be looking to stream the NFL because we are a nation absolutely addicted to the National Football League. By the way, I mean, you sent me the story. It was like 31 million people that watched Chiefs-Bills.
31.2 million.
It's insane. I mean, that's not a holiday. That's not a standalone. Now, there were in that window, in the afternoon window. There was only 3 NFL games in the afternoon window. So really everybody that's an NFL fan was watching that game. By the way, NFL, Stop screwing up and only give me 3 games in the afternoon window. Like, you can do better than this. Like, give me a variety of games throughout the day. Anyway, 31 million people. Ain't nobody got any ties to Kansas City or Buffalo. 2 small markets in the NFL. But it's Chiefs, Bills, it's Mahomes, it's Allen, it's all that stuff that went into it. Ended up being a great game as well. And 31 million people watched it. What do you think Christmas Day on Netflix is going to do? By the time you had your Christmas dinner, got a few beers or a few old fashions, glass of wine in you, you unbutton the pants, sit back on the couch to watch some NFL. The entire country is going to be watching Netflix. I wonder if they outdo Tyson. That would be a Super Bowl number.
Yeah.
100 million? That would be a Super Bowl number. I wonder if they can get it. That'd be fascinating. All right, let's find out everything Muso doesn't know. Let's do a little Pluckers trivia.
It's time for Pluckers Trivia. How many will Muso get wrong today? Pluckers Trivia, every Wednesday night, 7:30 at Blue Bonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson.
At Blue Bonnet. 7:30 at Blue Bonnet. 8 o'clock at Nicholson. At Blue Bonnet. All right, Muse. 3 questions. Couple of sports questions. 1 entertainment. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, you're not saying a word. Usually there's a little bit of interplay here.
Well, I didn't know if you were pausing or going. I mean, it's,
Usually we talk. We use words. Paulie, is he floating a little bit over there? It's been 21 minutes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kicking in a little bit. I figured.
A while since you've gone there.
That makes sense. All right, Muse. Thanks to a curious Supreme Court ruling in 1922, what's the only pro sport with an antitrust exemption?
Is it a Supreme Court? Okay, so 1922. Jeez, man, I don't friggin' know. Baseball?
It is baseball. Muse.
Good guess.
What does an antitrust exemption mean?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Why? I mean, I don't know that. What is it? It's never really come up in my life. Personally, I mean,
we talked about it 42 minutes ago with David Fleshman.
I was working on getting everything posted during that interview. I didn't really hear much of it.
We'll just move on. I'll explain it to you later.
Okay.
Just to keep things moving. Eli Roth has a producer credit on The Last Exorcism. In the beginning of the film, what city and state does the Reverend Cotton Marcus reside in?
Never seen it.
Yeah, me either.
Let's think here, though. You got exorcisms, demons, possessed, witches, maybe. How about Salem, Massachusetts?
Nope. Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Really?
How about that?
Hey, look at that. Shout out to the hometown.
I never saw the movie. I didn't.
Yeah.
All right, Muse. Speaking of Iron Mike.
Hey.
How old was Mike Tyson when he became the youngest heavyweight boxing champion, or heavyweight champion in boxing history?
Mike Tyson was 23.
No. Mike Tyson, when he beat Trevor Burbick in 1986, was 20 years old. Couldn't even buy himself a drink, Muse.
How about that?
How about that?
He might have had a few, though, just, in celebration after that.
I don't know. I don't think Iron Mike's is a drinker. Now, he does a lot of weed and a lot of shrooms.
He's not now.
Yeah, I bet you do know.
No, he's not now. That man.
How do you know, Muse?
Well, there was this interview with him on Joe Rogan.
Takes one to know one, huh, Paulie?
No.
Sure he does. No. Yeah. Token a few with Iron Mike. You were pretty adamant there that you knew. Pretty adamant. He said, believe, Paulie, he goes, believe me, I know.
They also did like
pretty adamant about it.
I mean, he was adamant.
Feature about him on the weed.
Sure.
On the devil's lettuce.
Sure. Why don't you ask Muse, who's been puffing the Magic Dragon?
Didn't he say he smokes like 60,000 pounds of marijuana?
Okay, Muse. First of all, 60,000 pounds.
I think he said that in a year. I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up.
So it's in the tens of millions of dollars worth of marijuana that he does consume, which is quite a lot of weed. The interesting thing about the Rogan podcast, when Tyson was on there, he just kept eating mushroom, it was like chocolate bar shrooms. I mean, the whole time he just kept eating. Or maybe it wasn't on Rogan. Maybe it was
I thought it was.
Maybe it was his podcast. The thing where he acknowledged the whole, you can kill the music, thank you. Pluckers trivia night. The thing where he acknowledged where the thing that went viral, the headline where he talked about how much weed he smokes in a year or whatever. That was on his show.
Yeah, which is called Hot Boxing, by the way.
Right. And it was his show. I don't know who was on it with him, but that's where he acknowledged that. But there was an episode, God, maybe it was Rogan where he was eating the chocolate bar mushrooms, the entire thing. But where he acknowledged how much it was on his deal, yeah?
Yeah, on Hot Boxing.
Okay.
So he
what was the number?
He estimates at $40,000 a month. Some guy
dollars?
$40,000 a month on weed. Some guy said we smoked 10 tons of weed at the ranch. That's obviously an exaggeration. No, you don't. But I mean,
you're thinking it could be everyone at his ranch that smokes it, not just him.
10 tons though.
How many people all day? If you're just toking all day.
So that's what is that?
I don't do math.
A ton is 2,000 pounds.
I'm not mathing. Not doing it.
That's 20,000 pounds.
What was it?
10 tons. A ton is 2,000 pounds.
Okay, 10 tons a month
is what they said. Yes.
It's a lot of weed.
So that's 20,000 pounds. $40,000.
It's Muse's Graceland.
No.
Sounds like it.
Nah.
Kinda.
Not even a little bit.
You said you knew.
The man's podcast is called Hot Boxing.
You said, "Believe me, I know."
The name of his
Believe me, I know. You could have said I listened to the podcast, but you said, "Believe me, I know."
If I said
Big
I listened,
difference between I know and I heard him say it. Big difference.
If I said I listened to that podcast, I would never hear the end of it.
Did he say, "Believe me, I know"?
Those were his exact words.
Those were his words. Well, how do you know? Use
context clues.
Only one way. Nope. That you could infer because of the context clues. Doesn't mean you would know.
The man said he's
the only way you would know.
$40,000 a month.
And how do you know he's being truthful? You know because
I don't. That's true. I don't know
because
I don't know.
You know because you know.
He could be lying. You're right. I never considered that.
You know because you know.
No, that's not it.
Let me end the damn segment on the punchline, Yos! You know because you know.
AFR.
What do I have to do? Renaissance Hotel, Watermark Hotel. Go there to either one of those amazing hotels. The Renaissance Hotel, the Watermark Hotel. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Amazing places. The Renaissance, by the way, Friday, that's where LSU will be. LSU will be at the Renaissance Hotel. They're home away from home when they're at home. Friday night before every LSU home football game, the Tigers set up over there at the Renaissance Hotel. They got all the meeting space they need. There's enough rooms for the entire team, the entire staff, and, of course, other guests of the hotel. The grand ballroom they converted to where they have team meals and team meetings. They have different breakout rooms for all the different position groups. It's at the Renaissance Hotel right there in Bluebonnet. So when you got an event coming up, trying to plan it, you need to call my friend Allison Crump over at the Renaissance Hotel. It's the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Okay, wrapping up hour number 2. Russ Mitchell in about 20 minutes right now. Me, you so as Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
A quick update from the NFL first round of injury reports here on Wednesday. Damian Lewis, starting left guard, obviously for the Carolina Panthers, did not practice today, listed with an illness, so maybe not long-term. Status for Sunday could obviously still be in flux, but we'll see. Keep an eye on that for D-Lou if he can start to feel a little bit better. NBA action last night. The Brooklyn Nets. There's a lot to unpack here, actually, as a matter of fact. We'll start with Trendon Watford. Trendon Watford back in the lineup. Second game back. Remember, he was dealing with the hamstring. The timeline was so iffy there, but back in the lineup, 19 minutes, a big step up from his first game back. 10 points, also a big step up. Added 4 rebounds as well. Shot 50% from the floor. Really impressive. Ben Simmons nary an attempt. But did start and get 26 minutes of action. 10 points in the game. 9 rebounds, just missing the double-double. And then Cam Thomas out. Did not play what they're terming lower back tightness for Cam. His first game missed with that. He was in the lineup their last time out against the Knicks on the 17th. So we'll have to monitor that going forward with Cam Thomas as well. That's Tigers in the Pros. But
Damian Lewis and 2 basketball players?
3 basketball players. Slow day. I can tell you Alex Bregman went through the formality of passing on his qualifying offer from the Houston Astros. He turned that down. Just a formality.
That'd have been good.
Yeah. Now, if he does sign somewhere else, they can get compensation for him in the draft. It'll be around the 4th round. So, I mean, there you go. We could throw in the Bregman,
that would help.
news. Yeah. Got it in there. Yeah, that's all I got. That's Tigers and the Pros. Try to leave you time for a live.
My guy dug deep today. Shaw Bills! Hey! Shaw Bills! Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Locations all over Louisiana, from Morgan City up to Baton Rouge, west toward Lafayette, all over to Acadiana now as well. Y'all, Thanksgiving, a week from tomorrow. If you're hitting the road, you need tires, get by Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. And if you need any work done to your vehicle, need that oil change, tires rotated, check engine lights on, brakes are squeaking, bring it into Shaw Bills. Schedule service online, shop tires online, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. All right, Russ Mitchell in 20 minutes. When we come back, Brian Kelly and Clark Lee previewing Saturday's game in Tiger Stadium. We'll give you the latest. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
You know, one of the things that I love telling you about with Michelli, and I've had the great pleasure to tell you about Michelli weighing and measurement now for years, is how they've continued to grow while maintaining their local ownership. Here's what I mean. So they opened up 76 years ago. And while they've continued to grow, they've maintained their local ownership. So they're right there in Harahan. And you can walk into the front door at the office in Harahan, first office on the left. That's Joel McMullen, president, CEO of the company. They've still maintained their personalized customer service, but now they've grown to more than 30 offices across a dozen different states, and they're not even close to being done with their expansion. You'll see them all over at different events, like coming up, actually today in the next 3 days, they're up in Seattle at the Waves of Innovation Pacific Marine Expo. They're incredible. It's Michelli.com.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. there are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This could be the night the 76ers get guard Tyrese Maxey-Mack in the lineup. He's questionable against the Grizzlies with a hamstring strain. Philly's first game since the team meeting during which Maxey called out his close friend and teammate Joel Embiid for being late to everything and how that impacts the locker room. ESPN NBA analyst Jay Williams.
Now we get a chance to really see how are they going to respond to this?
Yeah.
How do you come out of this moment? Like, I know who Tyrese Maxey is. I've stated that from the beginning. I'm still waiting to learn how Joel Embiid handles these type of moment to determine whether he could be a champion or not.
Jay Will on Greeny. Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner confirmed today club officials met recently with free agent Juan Soto, described it as a good meeting without divulging many other details. Soto also recently has met with the Mets, Blue Jays, Dodgers, and Red Sox. ESPN's Michael Vopel is reporting Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark will not play in the new 3-on-3 league Unrivaled in its upcoming inaugural season. The WNBA Rookie of the Year and top overall pick in last year's draft will still be busy with events on the WNBA offseason.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive offers a great price and round-the-clock protection when bundling home and auto. It's one of those rare times where you could save money and get something great. Bundle today at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man.
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tumplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. And oh, by the way, it's a hump day. Yep.
It's hump day.
Let's hump, everybody.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Brian Kelly.
Hump day.
Clark Lee.
It's hump day.
Football.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
They talked about it.
Hump day.
Lane Kiffin.
It's hump day.
Urban Meyer.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Hate each other.
Hump day.
We'll talk about it.
It's hump day.
Russ Mitchell.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
In 15 minutes.
Hump day.
Taysom Hill to the Hall of Fame.
It's hump day.
We talked about it.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
What do you think, Muse? Taysom Hill to the Hall of Fame?
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Hump day.
You think so?
I do think so, yes.
It's hump day.
Do you think he'll actually get in, or do you think you would vote for him to get in?
Both. It just might take a while for him to get it. He's got to wait his turn, obviously.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Homer.
Hump day.
Hey, y'all go check out LouisianaSports.net.
It's hump day.
If you don't,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You're a bad person.
Hump day.
Everything is free.
It's hump day.
No paywalls.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
No subscriptions.
Hump day.
No pop-ups.
It's hump day.
No article limits.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Just awesome stuff that's free.
Hump day.
If you don't like LouisianaSports.net,
It's hump day.
You suck.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
I'm just kidding. You're probably a great person. You just probably don't know about it. So go check it out, LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. All right, let's get going here. Russ Mitchell in about 11 minutes from right now. We are glad to have you aboard with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR. Brian Kelly and Clark Lee were on the SEC Coaches Teleconference. There was one really notable update from Brian Kelly. It was the Garrett Dellinger injury update. Can we play that really quickly? This was the update on LSU starting left guard.
He practiced a little bit yesterday. We're taking it day by day. Look, I think it's important when you're coming back from this tightrope surgery that, there's kind of stages. You don't throw him in for everything. Yesterday, he was part of our pass protections, and, he felt comfortable there. Today, we're going to get him involved in the run game. We're making progress. So, I would say that I'm optimistic, but, each day we've got to work on, building that confidence where he feels he can go out and be an asset for us.
It's pretty fascinating to listen to Will Campbell talk about that players only meeting. If you didn't hear everything Will Campbell had to say, the entirety of his press availability, we have the video at LouisianaSports.net on the homepage, and go check it out right there. It's on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel as well if you'd like to check that out. But discussed it earlier. Suffice to say, LSU's best player, who doesn't say much, said a lot when he met with the media, is nowhere near opting out. And actions speak louder than words. When you have someone that doesn't typically say a lot, when he is standing up and saying a lot, it means he's got something to say, and that's interesting. Before LSU welcomes in Vanderbilt for the first time since 2009. This is so odd. The first game that I ever went to with my now wife, Erica, when we just started dating. We started dating in August of 2009. That was the LSU-Vanderbilt game in 2009 was the first game that she and I ever went to together. So that was the last time Vanderbilt's been to Tiger Stadium. So LSU went to Nashville in 2019. Vandy was supposed to return the trip in 2020. It was the COVID year. Threw every schedule on its head. You remember LSU went back to Nashville in 2020 in the COVID year. That was John Emery had a big day that day after LSU lost the opener in Mississippi State, went and won at Vanderbilt, then lost at Missouri. Anyway, Clark Lee was asked about it, if they're really excited about coming to Baton Rouge for the first time since 2009.
Anyone who's ever ran out on a field anywhere in college football and experienced that many people paying attention to what you're doing. I mean, it's a truly, I don't know, it's a unique experience. Now, success in those environments are how you do the best you can to eliminate the distraction of it. We're not playing against the crowd. We're playing against a really good LSU team. And so our focus needs to be on neutralizing the things they do well through our strategy, and for us, playing to our best. And if you do that, if you play to your identity, a lot of times you can cut through the environment. If you don't, the environment becomes a factor, and it can absolutely impact the flow of the game and the momentum.
It's so interesting. Brian Kelly, of course, coached with Clark Lee. Lee was on Kelly's staff at Notre Dame from 2017 through 2020. 3 of those years were as the defensive coordinator before Clark Lee became the head coach at Vanderbilt in 2021. So they know each other very well. That'll be an interesting dynamic with those two. Clark Lee also was asked about the heightened expectations around Vanderbilt, which is different. I mean, this is a game that all of us, before the season started, took a Sharpie and scribbled a W on the LSU schedule poster next to Vanderbilt coming in here at the end of the season. Now, it feels decidedly different. Diego Pavia is a problem. They have a running quarterback, which LSU hasn't done well stopping. Yes, there's expectation around Vanderbilt, which is weird to see. What about for Clark Lee?
I mean, I think that's ultimately the goal is you make your job harder through finding the success that you believe is possible. And, we inevitably can't allow any external narratives to shape the way we prepare and the way we play. And I think ultimately what the program's goal is that, we're playing meaningful games throughout the season, and that we understand the pressure is a privilege. Again, we embrace the attention, we embrace the expectations that are starting to grow around us, because it means that we're bringing into focus the program that we know we can build here.
It's just a stinky line. I look at it, I'm going, man, that thing opened at 9, it got bet down to 8. I think it's at 7.5 right now. I know we do talk sports betting here. I'll get Jimmy's thoughts on it as well, but it's impossible not to look around and go, okay, everyone's expecting Vanderbilt to be competitive. LSU 3-game losing streak. Vanderbilt's been pretty good. They're coming off a bye. Why would this line be so one-sided? Typically, Vegas knows. It was the same thing that happened when Vanderbilt hosted South Carolina And I believe Carolina was maybe a 9-point road, 8-9-point road favorite, something like that. And I was a sucker. I took Vanderbilt in those points, and it was never close. So maybe this is the game, the weekend where LSU hits their bounce back. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Urban Meyer and Lane Kiffin spatting without spatting. I'll get to that in just a second. But we are brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, if you're thinking of popping the question here, we are 5 weeks from Christmas. Today is 5 weeks from Christmas. If you're thinking of popping the question, make sure you thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They've got the best selection. If they don't have what you're looking for, they'll find it. If they can't find it, they'll make it. And if she doesn't love it, they accept returns. Bring her in and let her pick. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where you always get the Lee Michaels experience. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. The committee released their rankings last night. I don't care. I don't look at them. It just doesn't matter. There's still games to be played. This is nothing but a TV show. I've talked about that forever. One conversation that is being had, though, is what happens if you have a 3-loss conference championship game loser. For example, a team goes 10-2. They go to the SEC championship game, lose. They fall to 3 losses, which is likely or certainly possible to happen this year. What happens to that team? Ward Manuel, who many of you have told me is a New Orleans native. He's the Michigan AD. He's a New Orleans native. Ward Manuel was asked that question by Reese Davis because of a comment Lane Kiffin made where he's almost like you'd rather not go to the SEC championship game. Here's what Ward Manuel said.
We have a lot of value with the teams that make a championship game. That says a lot. Playing 12 games in the season, making your championship game is a really valuable data point, number one. Number two, we're going to evaluate the games and how teams play and the performance on the field. That's what the commissioners have asked us to do. They didn't ask us to stop right before the championship game. They asked us to rank the teams through the championship game. And I think you could see over the years how the committee has valued those championship games and who stays in and where they're ranked. But I think teams who make that championship game, the committee looks at them and puts them in high esteem.
Interesting. Hey, who played in the SEC championship game last year?
Alabama and Georgia.
Oh, yeah. Who won?
Alabama.
Right. What was Georgia's record before that championship game?
They were undefeated, 12-0.
Oh, and so they lost that game, right?
They did.
But they made the playoff, right? Because you hold people in those games in high esteem?
They did not.
Oh, they didn't?
No.
You don't say. Oh. Again, everything these puppets say on TV, ignore. It's not worth. Anyone who's having conversations about the committee and the rankings, it just none of it matters. I don't know how much more I can say this. Nothing they do now matters at all because none of the precedent they set is going to matter with 2 more weeks in the regular season and the conference championship games. They're going to take all the evidence they have and do whatever the hell they want regardless. So it doesn't matter. Ignore all this stuff. Urban Meyer did tee off on Lane Kiffin, though, for saying he didn't want to go to the conference championship game.
I'm shutting you out because I can't even think like that.
What
you hope you don't go to the championship game.
Right. Go play to win.
And what do you like? You go and then eat dinner afterwards? You get up in the morning and say, as you're driving to work, say, boy, I hope we don't win the SEC championship. I mean, I that doesn't compute.
No, it wasn't.
All right, he wants to win it, of course. He just don't want to go and lose it. There's a difference because, the cowards are going to take the path of least resistance. And I do believe that the SEC championship game loser is going to be left out because it happened last year to the undefeated #1 Georgia Bulldogs, who are the 2-time defending back-to-back champions. Yes, a 3-loss team from the SEC who loses the SEC championship game is going to be out. Book it. Russ Mitchell next, AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Buying or selling, if you need a realtor, you need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Y'all, don't you dare try to list that home for sale by owner. You may think that's the best price. It's not. 73% of people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor. So save yourself the time, save yourself the headache, the frustration, the aggravation. Get your home sold fast. Get to a closing table. Get on with your life. Let Darren James help. Go to agent225.com. That's agent225.com. How about this beauty? On Conway Village in Gonzales, starting at $380, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,700 square foot. Gorgeous. Check it out today at agent225.com. That's agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
The best kept secret.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. Russ Mitchell.
Kicking the tires and lighting the fires. Russ! Literally.
Well, I'm proud of Russ. I think Russ deserves it.
It's football! Rusty, come on up here. Absolutely, I thought that was going to happen because it's state. It's supposed to happen.
You know, I haven't had much of a chance to talk to you man to man, Russ.
How are things out there at DBU?
I want you to stay here and take care of things, Russ.
The only way you can point up is up.
Not going in our yard, Russ. It's going in our living room.
It's like Troy.
Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Put your foot on his throat and choke him out. Take it, Russ.
The how are things at DBU dig still cuts deep. How are you?
Kicking tires, lighting fires. I'm not as happy as the happy cows.
No.
Nor am I as woody as the good wood.
So you had to realize you're referring to 2 commercials that just aired in Baton Rouge, but all of our affiliates in Lafayette and Lake Charles and Alexandria and all the TV, like they didn't hear it, so they don't know what you're talking about. But
they didn't hear that?
No. That was the Baton Rouge radio audience that heard those. those ads for Segrera and for Segrera Farms and for Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. That's what Russ is referring to there. So LSU lost to Florida. This must be a really tough day for you.
I love all my children the same.
No, you don't.
It would be more disappointing if there was really a point where I felt that LSU had a chance to win that game. But, it's been pretty inept over the last, pretty much since halftime of the A&M game. It's been, since then, LSU's been outscored 3-1, 3 touchdowns since halftime in the A&M game. And that includes Lacey's gimme with 11 seconds to go against Bama. So,
that was a sad touchdown. That was a really sad one.
Dude. I mean, the offensive line's allowed a dozen sacks, 24 tackles for loss, basically, penalties, undisciplined. Even in the USC game, right? In the fourth quarter, when they had to dominate and run the ball, they couldn't. But I still think this is a defensive thing, brother. I mean, LSU right now is allowing opponents in conference play to convert third downs almost every other time they're on the field. 50% basically. Opponent's conversion rate on third down.
Yeah.
Can't win.
Yeah. You can win if you have Jaden Daniels. Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a strategy. Scoring 55 points a game.
I like that though. That's fun. Scoring 55 is fun.
It's not sustainable. You know how everyone's talking about sustainability nowadays. That's not sustainable. You can't score 55 points a game.
Burrow did it.
Count on it.
Burrow did it.
Can't count on it. I mean, this defense right now, not only we just talked about third down conversions in the red zone, when opponents get to the red zone, when they convert on all those third downs and eventually run out of space and make it into LSU's red zone, they're scoring touchdowns 65% of the time.
Yeah.
LSU ranks 15th in the conference out of 16 teams.
Yeah, they got to get better players.
The only team that allows a higher percentage is Arkansas, in terms of big plays, in terms of giving up big plays as well. The only team that allows more than LSU is Arkansas, and they've played an extra game in conference play. It's just atrocious.
Yeah, it's better than last year.
Yeah, same. More wins or more losses, though.
Well, you don't have Jaden Daniels.
There you go.
But the defense is better than last year. They're not good at all, but they're better than last year.
We talked about this last week, didn't we? Against the historic, epically bad defense, they're better than last year.
Yes.
They're still 15th in the conference. 15th. You just throw a defensive category that's important, and LSU's defense is 15th.
Yeah. They were good in the second half against Ole Miss. They were awesome at Arkansas. They were good for a half and a quarter against A&M. There's times they've been competent, and you can look at that. You can look at stat sheets, which are not good, but you can also objectively look at this team, and there have been times where they have been good. They're not good enough, and they haven't been consistently good, and they clearly have gigantic glaring weaknesses. But you can see progress on this defense from a year ago. They need better players. I think we.
I'm looking around my desk at things that I might be able to bludgeon myself with, and I can't find enough to put up with watching the game tape of LSU. Do you realize, I'm going to say we, do you realize that we have lost to A&M in Florida in the same season?
I know that's tough for you. That's really tough for you.
That's uncomfortable for me. personally, that's very uncomfortable for me.
I know.
The only thing that would make that more uncomfortable is if my ex-sister-in-law had gone to A&M. That would be the only thing that would make that more uncomfortable.
She sounds like a delight.
She was just thrilling. Can we switch the tables and talk about something positive?
Hey, Georgia, best team in the country?
I wouldn't want to play them.
I know, right?
I mean, pretty much the whole season we've talked about the fact that Georgia kind of plays. First of all, they can beat anybody in the country in the last 3 quarters of a game.
Yeah.
They don't do particularly well in the first quarter of a game.
Musso is losing it over there. I don't know what specifically triggered him, but he is just losing it over there right now. I don't know if it was you looking for things to bludgeon yourself, well, whatever it was. It was something. What was it?
Just a combo of the bludgeoning and the sister-in-law.
No,
is just really good.
Just got him.
Yeah. I think that Georgia is what everybody's trying to be, right? I mean, elite recruiting, even with all the kids leaving to the NFL, there's just another one they plug in. Great coaching, top to bottom, a lot of money for their staff, really tough football mentality, really defensive focused, even though they can have players they can plug in for offense. They've got a good cultural foundation. They've invested a lot. I think they were a little behind some of the teams in the conference, and they've invested a lot, particularly in their training facilities. I know Cochran just retired, but Kirby bringing him over from Alabama was huge, and they're tough and physical and nasty and mean, and they're what everybody wants to be right now. And I don't think there's a team. On a neutral field, I think I might rather play. I'd rather play Texas than them. I'd probably rather play Ohio State or Oregon than Georgia.
I mean, Georgia went to Texas and beat the hell out of them. So I would agree with you.
Physically, yeah. Absolutely.
What do you think is going to happen? If you had to pick, who do you think is going to make the SEC championship game? You think Texas or Texas? Like, assuming Texas and Texas A&M both get there. A&M's got to play Kentucky this week, right? A&M plays Kentucky and then Texas. So, winner of Texas A&M presumably will go, and then it would be if Bama beats Oklahoma and Auburn, they would go.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just nailed it. I think it's Bama and Texas. So, and I think that would be a lot of fun. I think that'd be a good game. As the conferences have gotten bigger and bigger, of course, the idea of having potentially the same 2 teams play each other 3 times in a season, once during the regular season, once in a playoff, and once in the conference playoff, and then once in a playoff, that's kind of uncomfortable. So it would be nice to have 2 different teams.
Yeah.
But I like Texas in that matchup.
So you think Texas is going to beat A&M?
I mean, do you right now? Do you think? I don't think Alabama's the second best team in the conference. I think Georgia is.
I think Georgia's the best team in the conference.
Fair enough.
Who do you think?
Fair enough.
Ole Miss?
I like Ole Miss. They had that dud against LSU where they just couldn't convert, right? I mean, they just kept making mistakes, kept shooting themselves, kept allowing LSU to stay in it, and then LSU came back, took the lead for the first time in the game on the last pass. So, I like Ole Miss, but there's no real, and again, we've talked about this all season. There's no team in the SEC that has completely separated themselves from any other team in the SEC, at least amongst the elites.
By the way, I do realize that Ole Miss beat Georgia. So if they were same record head-to-head, like who would advance? Of course you'd pick Ole Miss because they won the head-to-head. My point is, neutral field today, who would I take? I would take Georgia over Ole Miss, neutral field today.
How much of that is just respect for everything that Georgia's done in previous years? And I know I'm not trying to discount from the game we just witnessed. I mean, they shut out Tennessee, a very good defense scoring 2 touchdowns in the end. They shut down Tennessee. They demolished Texas in Texas. But, I mean, this is not last year's Georgia team. This isn't the Georgia team that we've seen from the last few years. They play down to the competition of the opponent if the opponent's not very good, and they do bonehead things. They barely show up for the first quarter of games. I don't know how much.
They were down 10-0 to Tennessee in the first quarter and then came back and scored them 31-7 the rest of the way. But if Carson Beck throws for 347 like he did against a very good Tennessee defense, which hadn't allowed any opponent to score 20 points all year, Georgia's the best team in the country if they get that Carson Beck. Okay, let me break because the one if there was if Bama beats Vanderbilt and Auburn and how the other 2 lost teams may play. The if with Texas and Texas A&M getting there. So we'll get Russ's thoughts on this weekend ahead. And my guess is, having done this segment with Russ for a dozen years now, knowing how he feels about this weekend's schedule of college football, he'll probably have a few things to say about it. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. You know what's going on over at Rouse's right now. Buy a ham, get a turkey. It's that easy. Buy a Hormel Cure 81 spiral sliced ham and get a free Butterball frozen grade A turkey up to 14 pounds over at Rouse's. Limit 1 per customer. $25 in-store purchase required. You get all the deets over at Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Yes, get your ham and your turkey, but also they got all your holiday sides as well. So you can let Rouse's cook for you this Thanksgiving. If you don't want to take care of it, let Rouse's do it for you. They'll have it ready to roll. You just heat and eat. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You want to pick up that great bottle of wine for the Thanksgiving table? You can find it. Great bourbon selection as well. You can find it over at Rouse's. All your beers, craft beers, they got them for you at Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, you know, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, you know. We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
All right, continue with Russ Mitchell on Twitter at Russ Mitchell CFB. Go give him a follow. And if you need a roof, look at Russ's hat. It's a beautiful hat, by the way. There it is, right there, in all our glory. That Parrish Construction and Roofing logo. That is a good-looking hat. I like it a lot. Is it your favorite hat?
I don't wear hats very often, but I do like this one.
Russ wears a hat. I think I've never seen him actually without a hat, ever. Probably the only guy I've known who's gone to a fine dining restaurant wearing a ball cap.
I think I don't ever remember not wearing a hat. Like even in pictures of me back when I was like 2, I was wearing a hat.
2-year-old
Like,
Russell.
I might have come out of the womb with a ball cap on. So
were you wearing a hat the day Vanderbilt beat Alabama at Vanderbilt Stadium?
I was. Oh, you know what I have here? Hold on.
I'm setting you up for it. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Is that what they call it? What
This
do they
is
call that in
why
the
you
business?
should be watching on YouTube or WBTR. What do we do? What do you do? What?
This is a piece of the uprights from the game when they beat Alabama.
It's so if you're listening, not watching, Russ bought a piece of the upright from Vanderbilt. They cut the upright, sold it. It's on a beautiful platform with the score of the game on a plaque. Nice holder, very nice display there. So how much did you spend for this piece of the goalpost, pray tell?
I can't remember. It was a small donation to the school.
Understood, because you love all your children the same. So
I do. I love all my children the same.
I'll remind you that on the Wednesday before that game, someone asked you if this was a trap spot for Alabama, and somebody laughed and made some lewd comment.
Something about a donkey.
So there was something about a donkey in there. Anyway, so now Alabama has to go on the road to Oklahoma. OU coming off a bye, night game, pretty good defense, an offense that's been playing better, and an Alabama team with a lot in front of it. You see any tripwire there in Norman this weekend?
Well, I mean, yeah, this, and we talked about this. Alabama's defense, their offense, sets up their play with the rushing attack. In the last 3 wins, they've done it. This offense for Alabama has averaged almost 500 yards in its last 3 games. Now, that was Mercer, LSU, and Mizzou, which is not actually Murder's Row of defenses. But, Milroe continues to really impress. 17 touchdowns. The only person in the SEC who's got more rushing touchdowns than Milroe is Dylan Sampson, the running back for the Vols. So, the thing people don't know about OU because they've struggled so much as a team this year and their overall record is low is that their run defense that you talked about against per carry is second best in the SEC. They're only allowing 3 yards a carry. So, if they can be just moderately decent on offense,
it's a big ass.
I know. They're dead last in the conference in turnover margin. Dead last. So, there's a lot of things that would have to go right for OU to win this game. But I do think that their run defense, unlike LSU, should do a decent job of trying to curtail Milroe.
Another one that's got a lot of people's attention is the A&M game at Auburn, just because of the line. Auburn is having a miserable season. They're 4-6, 1-5 in the conference. But A&M is only a 2.5-point favorite on the Plains.
I know.
That's one of those stinky lines of the week right there as well. What do you think about A&M and Auburn?
Can you believe LSU lost to this team?
Well, considering the way you laid it out for LSU defensively, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this
hard to
this
win
is
on
an
the road in
Auburn.
the league, man.
Last year, Auburn played New Mexico State this weekend. Do you see how all of these things are looping together?
And New Mexico State this weekend, by the way, plays. They played last weekend. Who did they play? New Mexico State had an SEC team last weekend. Anyways, I'm sorry. Good.
Diego Pavia comes to Baton Rouge this weekend after being on the plane
A&M
this weekend.
A&M beat New Mexico State last weekend. Sorry.
That's right. This is an Auburn team that's been completely inept almost across the board. So as long as A&M doesn't shoot themselves in the foot, they should have no problem playing against A&M or playing against Auburn.
Did Florida find anything, or does Ole Miss go in there and roll?
Florida found that they can play against a terrible defense and be efficient. This is not a terrible defense. Ole Miss playing good football. Unlike LSU, they're actually able to score touchdowns over the last month. So I expect them to go in and handle what is a below average Florida team that LSU lost to last week.
And it looks like Trey Harris is going to be back for Ole Miss as well, which
I just actually voted for him in the finals for the Biletnikoff Award.
He is still leading the conference in receiving yards despite not playing for the last month. He hasn't played since the LSU game, and he's still leading the conference in receiving yards.
I think some of that is a reflection of how piss poor the start of the season was for Ole Miss. But even if you just look at conference play, I mean, he's a remarkable receiver, and for my money, has a shot to win the Biletnikoff this year.
Hey, Georgia plays UMass, Tennessee plays UTEP, South Carolina plays Wofford, Arkansas plays Louisiana Tech. You fired up for that?
Yeah, it's just crap. I mean, it is better than last year. I mean, it's Bama at OU, A&M at Auburn, Ole Miss at Florida. It's not Bama, A&M's, and Ole Miss's fault that those aren't better games, right? OU isn't the team we expected. Auburn's down. Florida's down. The schedulers gave those teams the home field advantage to hopefully make up for that. It's not the scheduler's fault. I mean, you could say that the other four you mentioned, but if you remember last year, it was Chattanooga, UL Monroe, Georgia State, LSU, Florida International, Abilene Christian, Southern Miss, and New Mexico State. That was the SEC slate in 2023.
What's the extra bye? The extra open date this year alleviated some of that, but it's going to go next year. It's going to go right back to that, Russ. I mean, that penultimate playing date is going to be horrendous again next year, unless if they go to 9 games.
Can we just go to 9 games, please? I mean, this is so terrible. It's just so bad for the sport. It's bad for the SEC. It's bad for positioning for the conference, for the playoffs. Teams will get punished for having these games, I mean, especially at the end of the season when it's something that the committee can look to and it be right there. I'm telling you, this will be a problem for the conference if we're trying to squeeze an extra team into the playoff.
Russ Mitchell. Okay, let me get your thought on LSU-Vandy. It's Russ. They haven't won a game in 5 weeks, man.
Dude.
By the time Vandy rolls in here, it would have been 5 weeks since they beat Arkansas. It's been a minute since LSU's tasted a dub. They need it. You got Vandy coming in. That line started at 9. It went down to 8. Now it's LSU 7.5, so it's coming down. Both teams at 6-4, 3-3, identical in the league. I mean, you are Vandy's equal this year. What do you think?
I wouldn't take this. I would not take that bet unless I was definitely under a touchdown. I wouldn't give Vandy 7 points in this game at all. LSU's run defense is the weakness that they have. They've allowed 22 rushing TDs this year. That's 114th. For those of you who play defense for LSU, that's not in the conference. There's only 16 teams in the conference. That's 114 out of everybody in the FBS. That's how weak you've been. You know, in conference, out of the 16 teams, our run defense is ranked 14th. Now, guess what? Here comes the running quarterback in Pavia. The advantage is that where LSU is strong in pass offense, Vandy has a weakness, pass defense. But to me, in order to win this game, LSU must get Vandy off the field on third down. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We watched that Alabama game. I presume everybody has watched that Alabama game. And if you did, you know that part of the reason that Vandy won that is they stayed on the field on third down. Right now, Vandy's third in the conference in third down conversion rate. 43%. They convert on third downs 43% of the time.
Who's the best?
We talked about this in the first segment. Right now, LSU almost dead last in the conference in allowing opponents to convert on third down. So, Tiger fan, if you're watching anything in this game, it's can LSU get off the field on third down?
LSU's pretty good offensively at converting on third down, too. They're the best in the conference.
Yeah, I know, best in the conference.
But you're right. Vandy.
It doesn't matter if they don't have the ball.
Right. Russ, they had the ball for 42 minutes against Florida. They couldn't finish drives. I mean, they had the ball. They couldn't get the ball into the end zone.
If you remember,
one time they did, and it came back for a stupid penalty.
In the Alabama Vandy game, Alabama scored when they got the ball. You know, I mean, many of the times they scored when they got the ball. Vandy just didn't give it to them.
Yeah. Vandy, I mean, this box score, Russ, the Vandy-Alabama box score is almost identical to the LSU-Florida box score. Vandy possessed the ball for 42 minutes. They had 418 yards of offense. They were 12 of 18 on third down. Like, Vandy did to Bama what LSU did to Florida. Vandy just scored 40 points. They got it in the end zone. LSU just never scored against Florida. It's
LSU kicked field goals.
Yeah, attempted. Yeah. So what do you think? Who do you think wins?
I wouldn't take LSU and I wouldn't give away 7.
Just
I think LSU wins because it's at home and I expect the crowd to be loud. But I mean, yet again, it's another running quarterback. So okay, LSU, if you think that you can fix this, go fix it. Here, we're giving you another running quarterback. Fix it.
Yeah.
Kelly, fix it.
Last time we saw Vanderbilt, they got pummeled at home by South Carolina.
Fix it.
Yeah, I know. They got to win.
This is a good Vandy team, man.
Yeah. Russ Mitchell, at Russ Mitchell CFB. Give him a follow. We'll talk some Heisman stuff next week, too. I'll look forward to it.
I know. This is actually one of the hardest Heisman years I've had.
3 more weeks of games. It'll clear up. Thank you as always. Ferris Construction and Roofing, ferrisbuilt.com. All right, thank you, Russ. We appreciate it. It's After Further Review. Autolocks next.
After Further Review.
The Christmas trees have arrived at Clegg's Nursery. Get by any of the 4 locations. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day, buy local, shop local over at Clegg's Nursery. Yes. The Christmas trees are and have arrived at Clegg's Nursery. Let me also remind you that the Poinsettia Open House is coming up. This is at the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. It's going to be on November the 30th. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday, November the 30th, from 10 to 2 at the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Remember the Poinsettia Open House, and remember they got Christmas trees in right now at Clegg's Nursery. All of your Christmas decor, if it's time to start decorating, get on by and see our friends. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar. Open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all you can eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here. Excuse me. A little sip of my Evermore. A little frog in the throat. Final segment on this Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Pluckers. Find out we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
What's up, man?
Man, cruising down the home stretch here, hoping for some winner chicken dinners tonight, man. What are we looking at?
Best pick tonight, we go to the MAC, a little midweek action. Going to go to Toledo and Ohio, and same angle as we've taken before with the Toledo Rockets. In every category, man, they are just not quite as good as they are, but people continue to bet them based on their previous history in this league. Even like offensively, they're right around a top 20, top 30 yards per play offense, like 67. Laying a point tonight. Were they 1.5 tonight? Let me see.
Yeah. Toledo's laying a 1.5.
Yeah, taking Ohio.
Okay.
Plus the 1.5 tonight is our best play.
All right, Ohio plus 1.5.
Eastern Michigan for 5-5 on the year. 3 straight bowl games, 6 of 8. They only have 9 in their history, so Cannon Bowl eligibility is a big deal for them. Last home game for them in Australia to try and clinch it. Buffalo, if you remember last week, we had was Ball State against them plus 3.5. Buffalo came from way back to send it in overtime They won by 3 but failed to cover. That they don't come back there. This line is probably a little bit higher. We go with Eastern Michigan, small number at home.
The website has Eastern Michigan laying 8. I see it, though, here -1. Is that just a typo on the site?
That's a typo, yeah.
All right, let me go. I'll edit that. I don't know if Hunt must have just hit a bad keystroke there. So Eastern Michigan laying 1 at home.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see if I no. Here's the why, because Alabama in our college basketball is 8.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And Alabama is -8 tonight. Lost last Friday night. Tough one in West Lafayette.
1 minute remaining
against Purdue, and it was close, but Purdue pulled away at the end and wins handily. Purdue, they had their letdown last night. Almost pulled the trigger on Marquette. Even Max brought it to my attention, but I didn't put it out. But tonight we're going to look for Bama at home on campus, Coleman Coliseum, to bounce back and lay the 8 against Illinois.
All right, so a couple of plays in the MAC. Ohio U +1.5, Eastern Michigan laying a point, and on the hardwood, Alabama laying 8 at home against Illinois. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We are downtown at Jolie Pearl and Town Square Pizza.
Great spot, especially with the weather getting a little nicer. Otter and Hanny live at lunch weekdays 11 to 1. You can watch them now on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Thank you, Otter.
All right, good luck.
All right, same to you. We appreciate it. All right, Muse Pauly, appreciate you. Have an awesome night. See you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. The Otter, by the way, a Williamson Eye Center patient as well. Jimmy had the custom lens replacement. I had LASIK. Maybe you've been told you're not a candidate for LASIK. Great news. Evo ICL could be the solution for you. The bottom line is, if you want to see 2020 without contacts or glasses, you can do it, and the Williamson Eye Center can help. Listen, that consultation I tell you to take all the time, that's not a sales pitch. It's just giving you the options for yourself. And they don't charge for that consultation. Virtual consults are available as well, so you can do it from your car, your office, your home, anywhere. It's the Williamson Eye Center. You'll have that consultation with Kyle. She's fantastic. And then you'll meet with Dr. Blake. You can make your decision. Something people do often, y'all, is they give LASIK or refractive procedure as a gift. You want to go in as a family. They can do a gift card, whole thing for you. You got to check it out. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.